Talking to me.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything.
Give it a jiggle.
Jiggle.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
I can hear you.
I can't hear anybody. Oh, I can only hear out of this ear. What is that?
Well, cheers, you queers. It's from the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, and drinking in general. My name is Paxton. That is Clint Moses. And we have Sunset Kelly on the ones and twos.
And that's Sunset.
Sunset Kelly.
Not Sunshine Kelly, which I've been singing in my head for weeks and weeks. And then
I'll take either.
It's Sunset Kelly.
Well,
you're my sunshine and you're his sunset.
I discovered this when you had said it 3 or 4 times at the live show last week, which we'll get more into on the second half. But he goes, so when's Sunshine showing up? I was like, oh, that's a cute name for him. And then he goes, Sunshine Kelly. I was like, it's Sunset. I mean,
I found out when we got back from like breaking everything down, and I was like, what? It blew my mind. And then when I listened to the podcast back, I was like, I'll be goddamned.
Well, I'll be goddamn. And we want to.
I'm flattered by either.
Yeah. Well, we call him Sunset Kelly because Allie and I went to go watch a sunset, and he just happened to be down there chilling. I was like, "Hey, Kelly." So he became Sunset Kelly, and Allie is Allie 3 now. We'd like to thank
I like that.
We'd like to thank you all for coming out to episode 100 live at Huckapoo's last week.
Yes.
We had a lot of our Patreon patrons there, which we will be doing.
Yeah, we'll do a quick one probably.
We're going to do a quick Patreon after this, so if you want to help support the show, it's patreon.com/FromBehindTheBarcast.
Yes.
And so last week went really well. Now we're back in the new studio with new topics. It's a new year, new us. Let's get it started. So.
New year.
Yeah. It's.
And our new Patreon, Aaron Picklesmeyer.
Hey, Aaron, thank you so much.
Yeah, I guess they were playing the podcast on repeat from last week in the kitchen.
So they said, and this is a really nice thing, they said every Tuesday, Jack texted me, and he said, every Tuesday morning, we're going to make it a ritual to listen to the podcast. I was like, thank you so much. Just listen to the first half on Apple on one phone, and then switch to another phone and listen to it on Spotify. We need the clicks.
If you just want to play it on someone else's phone and just on the volume turned all the way down, that's cool also.
I mean, it's cool because we hear like whole restaurants listen to it, and it's like, it's really great, but then in my mind, I'm like, where are them clicks?
Yeah. It makes it hard to quantify how many listeners we're getting on each episode, but...
which we're happy for the ones that we have.
I mean, the YouTube video blew the fuck
that maybe it was the thumbnail or something. I don't know. But it was the fastest growing YouTube video.
Thumbnail?
Hey. It's the fastest growing YouTube segment we've ever had. So thank you for that as well. How often at your new job, which I assume is going to be more often than your last job, are you profiling people as they walk in the door? This is something we talk about a lot, but I've got a different one.
So while I do, even it's hard not to profile, it's subconscious, I am profiling people, but I've tempered my expectations a little bit because it's not as, it's more touristy because it's on a high tourist traffic area with cobblestones.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Chart House where Grant sent his buddy to go say hey to me, and he went in there and was like, can I talk to Clint? And they were like, who?
Look, you sit across.
I've worked there in 22 years. So.
You sit across from me once a week. I'm still not exactly sure where you work.
It's something about Tybee. People can't. It's circa 1875. No one can get those numbers right. Mike had to write it on his fridge. So when I asked him, he would hold on. Oh, okay. It's circa 1875.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well,
I tried to get.
I've told people the Chart House though, so that's
fine.
Maybe
I do.
I mean, hey, I like to. Well, anyways, so
yeah. So I profile some, but. I do like being wrong. I like profiling somebody when I'm wrong.
Sure.
But then when you're right too many times, which is more often than not, you're like, ugh.
Well, there's a difference in the profiling that you do. Like when I'm working night times at the bar, there's a certain amount of profiling I do in terms of is this person going to be a problem?
Yeah. See, I don't have to do too much of that.
Right.
I mean, if you've got a baby and it's screaming,
I'm profiling. You just got profiled. We need a drop for that.
Profiled.
So at night, I profile for, if the person's going to be a problem, I'm going to have to deal with them. How drunk are they going to get? Whatever. During the day, I've found that profiling people isn't so necessary in terms of whether they're going to be a problem. And it's not so necessary whether they're going to tip or not, because as I've learned, if you're a server during the day, even though the tabs are low, people see you walking around and moving and doing things.
Yes.
They're
and
more.
most people feel about that because, at my new job, you have outside tables sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go like all the way around to get to the table because you can't. There's no way to cut through. I can't push notes through the door or anything.
Right.
The fire door. So like most people see that, but some people are like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "I'm there, but around here."
24,000 steps is where I've been.
I take a lot of steps, more than I have at the last couple jobs.
So
Because
people.
Lily's there was not a lot of steps because there was nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go. Yeah. That's like me working at the outside bar. But somehow I still get like 10 G's, baby. Anyways, so people will notice that you're huffing it, that you're walking around, that you're, so even though the tabs are lower, the percentage of tips overall, not the percentage of the actual money, but of how many people tip okay,
is higher.
is higher.
Well, people aren't as drunk too. Some people get drunk and forget to tip, or
Also true. Yeah.
I had a guy the other night. He'd had a few, but he tipped me 20%, and then he left and came back and was like, "I'm sorry, man. I did bad math. Here's $25 more." And I was like, "Okay, thanks."
So I was working the other Thursday day, and 2 out of 4 people that were walking in were waddling in. Not waddling drunk.
Waddling,
Weight waddling.
Did they stop halfway up the steps to take a breather?
I didn't catch him going up the steps,
They come up the
but
steps like, you remember Fatty McGee from the Adam Sandler tape from the 90s? Yeah. That's out the fire alarm or whatever. That's a throwback for you people that are 40 or older.
wow, yeah, I had to get someone to purchase that CD for me.
My
back in
neighbor
the day.
had it, and the day we found out my mom had cancer the first time, I had just found out, and I went to his house to tell him, 'cause he's like my best friend. It was like right around a couple days before Christmas. And like, I'm hurt and crying or whatever. He's like, "Well, I've got something to cheer you up." That was the first day I heard it. It was like the perfect time to hear it because it's like, I'm 13 and it was so vulgar. And
It was called "They're All Gonna Laugh at You" by Adam Sandler, and there were many. Like The Longest Pee was on there. Toll Booth Willie.
Toll Booth Willie's my favorite. I'm coming out of the booth.
I'm coming out of the booth.
Because he kind of like morphed that character into people from like in like other movies like Big Daddy.
Yeah,
He worked in a toll booth in Big Daddy.
Those were the genesis of a lot of his later characters. So these people waddle in, and all right, so there's old people that waddle that are like their hips are bad from doing construction all their lives, and then there's self-inflicted waddling.
Yes, that's the one I'm like,
like buying 2 plane tickets type of thing, and they come in, and I'm immediately like, these, they're gonna want everything. They're gonna want 100 sodas no matter what.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna think that just because their tab was $12,
It's a $2 tip.
which is fine, whatever. So these waddlers waddle in, and they sit in my section. I was like, you know what? During the day, I'm way more of a affable guy, I think, especially at work because I'm not drunk, And I walked over. I was like, "Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing today?" The nicest waddlers I've ever met in my life.
Oh, that's good.
They turned everything
They
around.
waddled
for
your
me.
day around.
They waddled my day around. The very next couple that I had, I might shed a tear here. The very next couple that I had, I walk out of the kitchen and I see a couple sitting on the same side, which is normally a no-no for me.
It's not a good sign.
And they're
sometimes.
both wearing the same color gray shirts.
Okay.
I walk out, I turn, I get to him, and the guy has the menu as close to his face as you can get it. And I get around to him, and you can tell that there's, I don't know, not autism, but, there's
On the spectrum a little bit.
something, and the cutest girl sitting next to him, the 2 happiest looking people, he's thumbing around his...
Just got married.
Just got married, and their shirts say Mr. and Mrs. on it. And the guy looks up, and he doesn't mention the marriage stuff. He says, "Can I get any one of these slices for $5?" I was like, "You sure fucking can, brother." It was, and I'm not a wholesome guy necessarily, but like seeing this couple, because just that I've never not wanted someone to sit on the same side so bad until I saw them. And I was like, "You guys better sit on the same side of the table every time you guys go out. You better wear that Mr. and Mrs. shirt forever." And the thing was, it was so nice because we were kind of slow that day, so I wasn't as present in my section, and I'd come out, and so I'd just seen them there. Turns out they had already walked up to the bar, and Amanda saw them. She was like, "I'm putting you in Paxton's section to get,
nice.
to give him some wholesome."
She profiled them to give you some wholesome energy.
Exactly, and it was a perfect profile. Because, we do talk about profiling a lot on here, and I just wanted to make a few positive references to the profiles.
I've got a negative profile.
Good, let's hear it. Let's go.
So it's not really a profile. It's Money. He's back again.
Money's back.
Money's
Our man
back.
Money from the
Yes.
kitchen at.
So shout
blank.
out to Randy and Michelle. Randy Autry and his wife Michelle came
yeah.
in for dinner the other night.
Oh, fantastic.
Because if you knew Randy, he used to work at this restaurant many, many years ago. Oh. I got their clues.
Clues.
And they said, "Can we see Money?" They were like, "The meal's been great. We'd like to talk to Money."
They are listeners, yeah.
And so I was like, well, Money, for the first time in 2 weeks, spoke to me on Friday. But I didn't get to this last week because we were doing the podcast live.
Yeah, so give him a little reminder.
So 2 weeks ago,
2 weeks ago.
it was a Friday night, and he came at me and tried to attack me. Like, he came at me, like, ready to fight.
Yeah.
Because I put the wrong thing in the wrong trash can, and I was like, this goes here, this goes there. I'm like, is it all going in the same dumpster? He's like, yeah, but that's not how this works. He's very anal about things being organized. And I was like, if it's all going in the same fucking place, then who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I'll take both of those real easy.
I got
And
him
so
right
he
here.
starts coming towards me in an aggressive manner, and there's one of the corporate managers is there, and she's between the two of us. I'm thinking she's going to, like, step in the way, and she doesn't. So I'm backing up into a corner, and, like, I'm going to have to defend myself if he tries to hit me. And I don't want to hurt him. I know for sure he's going to swing from, 3 yards behind him, and I'm going to have plenty of time to just jab it out. But I'm not the one, dude, and I don't want to beat up a dishwasher. That's not a good look. At least let me fight a sous chef. Let me get somebody of a little bit of
on the tier list of who you want to fight in the kitchen. Dishwasher's pretty low.
It's a lose-lose scenario with me.
Busboy is the only one in the F tier.
Yeah, I'm getting fired. He's getting fired. He's getting hurt. It's just not a good look, and I don't want to fight him. This is not a fightable situation. He's just an aggressive douche.
Yeah.
And so I walked around because it had happened he got warned the week before about it. So I said something to the court manager. She's like, "You need to calm down." I'm like, "I'm calm. I just talk fast, and I'm a little excited because someone's coming at me." And she was like, "Just get out of the kitchen right now." So I walked around to the other side of the kitchen, and the corporate chef was there, and I was like, "Chef, I can't work in an environment where I'm threatened at work." He came at me in an aggressive manner, like trying to fight me and cussing at me. I was like, "I can't." He goes, "Don't say anything else. I've got this. We love you. I'll take care of this right now." So I go back to my tables, and it kind of frazzles you a little bit. So I'm not 100% anymore.
He immediately knew who you were talking about without saying his name?
Because he already had something happen before. So
Sure.
I kind of peeked back in the kitchen, and him, the corporate manager, and the other manager are all getting at him. He's like doing this, and they're just like, "We don't care." So it's Friday. I don't work again until the following Tuesday, till Wednesday. So I don't talk to anybody about it till at the end of shift. Tell the manager, I'm like, "Look, I just don't like. I don't want to be in an environment where I'm threatened at work. I don't want anyone to ever feel threatened at work by anybody. But I don't want coming at me."
That's not. Yeah, that's so
is not
counterintuitive.
This is not what should be happening. He's doing is wrong. He needs to be.
We should
scolded.
be fighting the customers in the parking lot.
Yes, at
like
least one a week. So I see him 2 more shifts. Doesn't say something. I see the GM. I talk to her. She goes, "The talk they've had with him, it won't be happening again because if it does, he's gone." I was like, "Oh, thank you very much for having my back." She's like, "Look, you." She's like, "You get along with everybody. Everybody likes you." Except for him. And so he, the first 2 shifts back together, he'd say nothing. He was kind of staring at me being weird. He's a weird guy anyways.
Yeah.
But then Friday night, he was like nice to me. And I was like, okay. But he was like being nice to my buddy Brian because he knows Brian and I are friends. And Brian's like, yeah, he's kissing my ass now. This actually may have worked out in the end because now he's being nice to Brian, who he
The
wasn't nice to.
butterfly effect.
And he's being nice to me again. So this
a
actually.
ripple in the dishwater.
So the money has been cleaned a little bit. A
Wow.
ripple in the dishwater.
Well, it seems kind of thematic though because they said if he does this again, well, he's gone.
He's been there like 8 months maybe. So it's
Oh,
not like he's
okay.
been
So
there a long time.
okay.
But he's the only person in that kitchen that's had some problems like this with other people. So like they know that he's
Sure.
and he's very anal retentive, and he doesn't do a bad job, but he's like I said, he only controls one thing on this planet.
And look,
It's the dish pit.
and
It's not deodorant for damn sure.
yeah. Listen,
This money stinks.
Our dishwasher at Huggapoo's, he can be the same way because I'll go set shit down and he'll be like, and he'll start throwing it places. I'm like, if you just tell me where to put it, I will.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's actually better sometimes when people are very anal about the things that they do, especially giving them power over something in their life where they
That's
might
good.
not.
You need that.
Where they might not have that in other parts of their life.
He watched me like pick up other people would like misstack some stuff, and I'd like reorganize it for him, which I would have done before and I'm doing now. And he's like, "Oh, this guy is on my side," because I'm on his side. I know how much his job sucks. I try to take things from him when he's carrying heavy things. He's busier than I am.
Yeah.
And like, I try to help out. And so this is kind of
Well,
a little redemption.
Pax with Clint and Pax. While working at a restaurant, doing things for your coworkers makes life easier
Yes.
for everyone.
Teamwork. Makes the dream work.
It really does. It puts a ripple in the dishwater,
Yeah.
as a great man once said.
I like that. So, yeah, that was nice.
I like that. And see, I was under the impression that he had been there longer, but if he's only been there 8 months, and you know what? You weren't at Darren. You didn't call the manager. Yeah, the manager had to be called in. The
manager has to become involved when it becomes a physical situation because it shouldn't ever get to that point.
It shouldn't have to get to that
And
point.
a kitchen's not a safe place to fight. There's knives and stuff everywhere.
I was about to say, and especially over near the dish pit, I bet it's kind of, I don't know, wet on the ground.
Yeah. I'm wearing slip-proof shoes. He definitely isn't.
Yeah, and I don't even care if he got slip proof. There's enough water.
Or grease.
Grease, baby.
Because he sprays the thing off pretty aggressively. But, hey, it's nice in there.
See, now he's going to do it secret because my first dishwashing job ever, it was on St. Simon's at a place called Chelsea. It was ultra fine dining. So they would send me 1,000 ladles every shift because they would ladle a few. There was only a few things that they ladled, and then they had to use different ladles for the different things. And for the first week, I would just hit the sprayer into the ladle, and it would whip right back into my mouth. So so he could do a shady spray on you. Have his back turned to you, spray into because I'm sure you have ladles.
I don't know that he was that good with physics. I don't think he took physics in high school or finished high school.
So that's so the other day at work, I also had a negative experience. Even though it wasn't with me particularly, I was just proxy to a negative experience for everyone else in the restaurant and everyone sitting around this guy. So I've seen this guy before, but I've never heard him talk, right? Well, he's sitting in the section where I walk out of the kitchen to deliver food. And the first thing I heard this gentleman say was, yeah, fear gave that up a long time ago. I don't touch.
Is he older gentleman?
No, he's like 30. I was like, oh, this guy's really funny if he's joking. Okay.
Who's the guy that used to have the No Fear van out here? Remember that? He went to Cafe Loco. It was a van. It had the old school No Fear thing on the back window, and it was like 2012.
Yeah, today it's probably a monster van now or something like that because that's the equivalent.
Those
of the
people
no
have
fear.
become monster.
They went from no fear to monster.
I have no fear of monsters.
So I walk by this guy and he goes, "Yeah, fear gave that up a long time ago. Don't touch the stuff." So I was like, either I'm gonna love this guy and he's the funniest guy I've ever heard.
It's an either or
He's completely serious. And as I walked back by, he goes, "Yeah, I do like skydiving and bungee jumping." I was like, he was not joking. So I walk back in the kitchen, waiting on some food. I walk back out, and one of my coworkers, Mary Beth, bless her heart, she coughed her ribs into misalignment or something. She had pneumonia. And she had coughed so much, she was like, "Man, I have this pain in my side." They were like, "You've separated your ribs."
Jesus.
She injured her ribs or whatever. So she's telling this guy that, or not.
I've
no,
injured my ribs there before.
I don't think she was necessarily telling him. Nobody was probably telling him anything because I don't think anyone really wanted to interact with him. And he goes, "Oh, you broke 2 ribs?" "Yeah, I broke about 18.
Huh?
I was like, "One, do we have that many?" Kelly's over there counting.
That's what we say. You have the 18
I
ribs.
was like, in one sitting, in one skydiving session?
You would be in the hospital for a while for 18 ribs at one time.
Every time I walk by this guy, it's like a meme. It's like a living meme. He says something else.
Everything he says just is memeable.
He's like, "Yeah, they took my wisdom teeth out and some new ones grew in. They can't stop me."
Is he Chuck Norris?
So then I walk by. All right, I follow this YouTube channel called The Girl with the Dogs, and she's a dog groomer. 3-minute videos, they're great. All these dogs come into her shop. So the other week, she had a Cane Corso. You ever heard of a Cane Corso?
I was just thinking about you watching YouTube videos of dogs getting groomed.
I love it.
Interesting thing. I'm like, all right.
Canine
I didn't have that on my
pornography.
bingo card of Paxton activities.
All right. So she had a Cane Corso the other day. Now, she is a professional dog groomer.
I thought it was a cane Corso. It's Cane.
It's Cane. Well, this guy goes...
Wait, is she British?
No. She's
okay.
Canadian, but she's Niagara Falls. So I hear this guy go, someone said, "Yeah, my puppy's in the so-and-so." He goes, "Yeah, I got about 4 Cane Corsos." "Oh, did anyone ask you that, brother?"
So he's just.
This guy, all right, you've known those people.
Does he fear having friends? Because it sounds like he doesn't have a lot of those.
He's got an aversion to people liking him. It's like, so there'll be people across the bar and they'll go, oh, yeah, they scored 14 points the other day. And then the guy across the bar is like, oh, yeah, I saw that too. Notice me, senpai. Right? These people exist a lot, especially around Huckapoos, trying to gain favor or like make themselves think they're cool or that people like them or whatever. So I'm witnessing this and hearing this as I walk by every so often. So then a gentleman walks in and sits down next to him, who is probably he was his perfect match for this guy.
Oh, okay.
So they start spinning yarns, baby. You broke 18 ribs, I broke 19.
The classic one-upper.
Oh man, it was beautiful. I loved this interaction. It's going on and going on. So I don't know.
It's gonna get dangerous if they start drinking like a lot. And
luckily, this is like 1 PM. They were both lunchtime.
Okay.
Okay. So the new guy, I've seen him around before. I kind of know him. I know where he works and stuff like that. He goes, brother, I ain't worked a day in my life. This is the new guy. He goes, brother, I ain't worked a day in my life. You know, I'd never go and do something where I didn't enjoy every single moment of it. Live life to the fullest. Drink the fullest cup, and my cup runneth over.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this. The guy does work because his job is working. It's not, he's not repairing old like antique cars. He's working. He's also writing, I've never really seen him work that hard. So
Maybe he's not working then.
But I was like,
is this Mike Henderson?
He was acting like his job was, repairing old sailboats or
it's something like luxurious and fun and like
something that you're retired doing, like a concert trumpeter, a concert violinist, a concert flautist.
There you go. That one settled.
So they're just starting to like become best buddies or whatever. And then I got cut. The two ladies that I was working with, they were like, "You can go." I was like, "You know what? Maybe I will go," because this is starting to get to a place where I'm gonna have to start interjecting a little bit with these guys. 19 ribs, brother. 25 ribs.
There you go. One more.
I went to a barbecue shack the other day and got them. Did you see that Sorted Food? It's a British YouTube channel. Had come to Savannah, and young Jack and Ashley was on the there's a burger boat. It's like
Okay, I did see that. They posted it, I think. Yeah.
So
they were on a burger boat. So if you're not from here, it's literally a mobile restaurant.
It's a food truck on the water.
On the water, and they'll pull up. You can make an appointment, and they'll come. Like they come to my dad's neighborhood, and they'll pull up to the dock, and they'll cook you burgers right there. Yeah. And then they boat off.
Hey, boat off, would you? And they looked great too because I'd known that they had been working on that boat or whatever, but I was like, it is a great idea if you're independently wealthy.
Yes.
Because I don't think it's
it can't be that profitable. I mean, yes, you have multiple appointments in a day, but
he doesn't work a day in his life because
that guy does not
work a day in his life because he chooses to be on a boat all day cooking burgers. Imagine that. You go out on your boat anyways and cook burgers. That's not working. That's what that gentleman meant to say.
And there's a bar on it too, right?
I think they serve
a burger boat bar.
Yeah, something like that.
No French fries though. You can't have that oil splashing.
Oh, you don't want sloshing oil around.
No. The way
a bag of chips. Yes.
Oh yeah, they were putting Lay's potato chips in there. Yeah.
Nice. So have you had a burger boat burger?
I haven't.
It's hard to say.
I'm not out in the water very much.
Yeah, they don't come to shore.
They wouldn't even. Yeah, I guess not.
Well, you can't technically drive your boat up on the beach.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're not supposed to. People.
I was gonna say, can you do that with jet skis? Because I see a lot of jet skis doing it.
I don't think you're supposed to have anything within 200 feet of shore because of like swimmer safety.
I had someone that was really mad at me one time, and I got on their jet ski. They were like, "Hey, take a ride with me real quick." Whew. They slung me off. Have you ever had 2 ounces of water underneath your eyelids, and then when you open
salt water?
Yeah.
God, yes.
I had to go to the chiropractor. I did cartwheels.
Oh, I thought you meant because of your eyes. I was like, you went to the wrong doctor, brother. I couldn't see. I walked into a chiropractor's office. I was like, help my eyes.
Guy walks into a chiropractor's office. I got watery eyes. Stop crying, son.
Yeah, so a jet ski is fun if you're driving the jet ski because you know where it's going. But when you're the passenger, you're just getting thumped around.
Yeah,
it hurts the nether regions if you don't have them in the right spot. You got to pick up the boys and put them between the legs.
Hell, you rode a jet ski? I rode 14 people on my jet ski. You know how many jet ski? Did you ever know one-uppers like that? I mean, I'm sure you did.
I worked with this guy named Chris Sweet, R.I.P. He ended up being a good dude, but when he first started, he moved down from New York. He didn't really know anybody, so he was constantly one-upping every story.
It's such a weird...
and there was a Budweiser commercial about it right around then. And so it was like, and he would do it, and we'd be like, make the one-up sound from like one up, and like we would make up stories just for him to one-up it. But he took it too far. He would try to one-up you with like drug use and stuff. So he like working in restaurants, I don't do drugs at restaurants. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
I'll have a drink or two, maybe get high near the end of the shift, or if it's really slow at this job at Garibaldi's. We actually, I think I may have told this before. We used to use the thing from the espresso machine, the frother for cappuccino. Took that little tube off and would core a fingerling potato, and I take a knife at the top and make a temporary pipe. Because then, if somebody comes, you can just throw that thing. It's gone. It's just,
or eat it. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to eat a raw potato, but you can do your thing, man.
It's good for your stomach.
But, so he would try to one up with drugs. So one day, there's people working. We took like Xanaxes, I guess. And so he decides he's going to take more Xanax than anybody else. It is a great idea to take a bunch of Xanax and drink at work. He had become the assistant manager like 3 weeks prior. And so I may have told this story before, but here it comes again, baby. So we have a wedding come in. We're getting everybody situated. He goes into the cooler to get some water, and we can't find him for half an hour. We go in there. He is passed out on a bunch of boxes of Pellegrino and Fiji water, just out. And so we're like, you know what?
Fiji water?
Let's leave him in there.
Yeah.
Like, he's fine. Like, we need him out of the way because the GM was like, don't go near any customers. Just stay back here. So he kind of woke up like it was like 10:30.
My stomach hurts.
The wedding's ending, and we had a freight elevator. You had to, like, close the gate, close the thing. You know, you can't call. You had to push a button, someone to close it.
And it takes some muscle to close freight elevators.
So we're like, you know what? He can take Grandma down the freight elevator to get back to wherever else. So she has to use the stairs. So when you came down the elevator,
abuse, man.
The elevator was next to the dish pit, which was by the back door. So customers had to go up the elevator. You take them through the kitchen. You know, hey, we're coming through the kitchen. You call downstairs and tell them. So they'd kind of mop up real quick, and they'd have someone there to kind of guide them so they don't slip and fall.
Yeah.
There's mats everywhere. Well, he is still trashed as shit. So he just opens the back door to the alley and goes, "Have a great night," and closes the door behind her. It's the end of, like, the party's leaving, so I'm like chugging a cigarette outside on the fire escape, and I look down, and there she is. Lost to shit, just like, and it's like 10:30 on a Friday night in downtown Savannah.
Downtown Savannah.
It's kind of a darker
in an alley.
In 2007, before they put all the lights through the alleys, like behind Molly, so it's like wet back.
That was right after I took a poo-poo in that alley on
she might
St.
have stepped in your
Patrick's
shit
Day.
by accident. So I'm like, I throw the cigarette down. I'm like, ma'am, stay right there. And I just go sprinting through the restaurant, down the stairs, through the dining room. Manager's like, stop running in here. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I go through the kitchen, and I'm like, ma'am, come with me. I walked her around the corner to, like, kind of help him save face, and got her to her party, who was concerned because they didn't know where the hell Grandma was.
They didn't know where Ethel was.
And she was like, none the wiser, but I'm like, dude, you cannot do this at work.
Okay, the weirdest flex is, oh, you took 4 Xanax, I'm going to take 5. That's like, hey, look, he did a bump. Anybody got some crack?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he got in trouble for that one.
Weird.
It's weird. He got suspended for a week.
What you call that? Ketamine. It's a K-hole. Xanax. Is that an X-hole? I don't know.
It's an exit hole.
Well, this wasn't from drug use. This was from drunk use. But an old employee, we called him Turbo at Huckapoo.
Yeah, we know Turbo.
We're like, hey, where's Turbo been for the past 30 minutes? And we go into the cooler. And we know how the walk-in cooler, we know how it's situated, right?
Yeah.
We know where everything kind of goes. Things were a little bit out of place because he had moved 3 kegs into one place, and we were missing a lot of romaine lettuce in the bag. The romaine lettuce in the bag had been fashioned into his pillow, which was on keg 3.
Caesar salad pillow.
And his torso and legs were on keg 1 and 2. Very comfortable 34 degrees or whatever.
Cryogenic.
He's a very thin man, too.
He is not a thick dude.
Something about skinny guys can pass out. Remember Benny passed out in that chair? And the chair was tubes, and his body was in the shape. And I was like, do you hurt? And he's like, that was only like half an hour. I'm like, but he was like hanging all weird. And he's like, I'm fine. I'm like, ow, that hurt me.
If I sleep on my side for more than 10 minutes or something, I wake up with a crook neck.
Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get up and walk around. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back with some Karens, some Darrens. We'll talk about our 100th episode. We got a listener, Karen. Shout out, baby Mike. We'll come through and...
and we'll talk about Kelly's...
Before we go, a quick little Alism. It's always nice to end a break with an Alism. Last night, there was this new guy who's on Tybee who's sketchy, shady, and annoying. He's an Eagles fan. He makes the Eagle call at Eagles games. So he's like,
that's a thing?
I didn't know it was a thing. It's at the stadium they play it, at the Eagles Stadium, Philadelphia. But he's just making the call at the TV.
He's the sound effect.
And so he was trying to be my friend last night during the Cowboys game. He's got his Eagles jersey on. The game was the previous night for the Eagles. He just wants to, he constantly is like trying to find friends. And everybody's getting away from him.
Afterglow.
And Al goes, man, that dude's messed up. He's on everything but roller skates. I was like, yes.
Yes, a new Alism.
So
we're
going to roll
those.
off on our skates now. We'll see y'all in a
We'll see
minute.
you in a second. Hey, and welcome back to From Behind the
I feel a little bit better now, a little
Barcast.
fishing.
Yeah, I saw you doing a little stretching over there. What are we enjoying tonight?
Oh, well, what we're enjoying is an actual cocktail because Paxton was like, I'm not drinking. And then sitting over here next to Clint's Nervous Energy, which, yeah, he was like, I got to have a drink. So I'm having a light emergency in vodka. Classic.
And what kind of
Finlandia.
Finlandia? Yes, I'm having a lime liqueur in Finlandia.
And a lighter cocktail.
A lighter cocktail, which is
a little bit more yesterday than I wanted to. So,
if you want to know what a lime LaCroix is, it's a unflavored soda water.
Sat next to a lime in a truck one time.
You know what I had before this? A Pellegrino. Those are the bubbliest bubbly drinks ever. San Pellegrino.
Bubbly.
I mean, the tiniest little bubbles. I think someone wrote a song about it. I think it was Hawaiian.
Yeah, you got me. I don't know.
Yeah. Don Ho, I think was his name. Tiny bubbles in the wine.
Hey, I'm going to quick mention this, guys. I know Paxton is really happy about this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. We have been nominated for Best Podcast in Savannah on Connect Savannah, Best of Savannah. It's voting starts early February. Please go vote for us so Paxton has to go to a formal event with me.
I will send a proxy.
Yeah.
Like, you look different.
Take Alex.
You look different.
They're fun events.
So last week, we did our 100th episode live at the Outside Bar at Huckapoo's. And for what it was the least, and I can say this now that we're done with it, the least technical issues I assumed that we would have.
Yeah, just the speaker. And that didn't affect the recording.
The recording sounded great. The crowd was,
we started with a pretty small crowd.
Yeah.
In the first segment, and then by the time it was over, there was like 40 people there. It was great.
And this is how
patrons. Thank you.
This is how Eric Thomas compliments you. He goes, "Man, that was really great. I can't believe anybody just wants to come up here and listen to you guys talk."
Yeah, and I was like, "Damn, Eric!"
He goes, "That was amazing."
He was very proud of us, and I
was
like that.
Thanks. So he was starting to tell us that because so we had gotten done and it went off without a hitch. Like I got a little drunk.
Yeah.
And I had some nerves.
I think I watched you do like your third shot and was like, I guess I'm getting on this wagon too early on here. It's like 2 o'clock, and I was like, all right. So we had some drinks. Did a second segment, had some drinks, and so shout out to Carl Nola for coming because I was like, Cowboys games tonight. Do I want to stay out here? And I was like, hey, any chance you guys want to drop my car home because I don't want to leave the Beamer in the parking lot? And they were like, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh God, thank you so much.
So we adjourned over here to the studio.
And shout out to Brian Hertford who said, I will come get you if you do that. And so he did. And the game was pretty much a blowout. So we sat there through you left at halftime.
Just before halftime.
You were trying. I was like, just wait till halftime. I don't know why it meant anything, but
yeah. Well,
I had to go.
Kelly had to. I had to go too. Well, and I was
to go number 2.
I wasn't the one getting the brunt of it, but I was getting enough of it. So this happens kind of often. If you go to a bar, so we went back up to Huckapoo's to join Clint and watching the Cowboys, and I wanted to, have a
keep the energy going.
Yeah, have a celebration for it going off without a hitch, and have a few drinks and just be out. And there weren't a lot of people there, which is typically a pretty good thing, unless the 8 people that are there, you don't know them, but they really want to know you, and not because of none of these people were there for the podcast or anything like that.
And there are people that I don't want to know we have a podcast pretty much.
And we're not walking in like conquering heroes coming back. No one cared that we had done it that day.
It was fun because I was anxious about the podcast and not about the game. And then as soon as the podcast was over, we went back to your house, put everything up, and then it just set in. And I was like, damn it.
We got a game. Yeah. So we go up there, and right when we get there, we're all 3 of us individually are kind of trapped by people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, one's in one corner. Kelly goes in, and he's made a couple friends immediately. Martin is still there from the podcast.
There were 3 people at the bar that I gave. I let her scan the QR code because shout out to Ann Carroll for letting us take over her bar and shocking her
unknowingly.
But she was telling them about what we had just done. I showed pictures. They scanned. They're going to listen. They were super nice people. I can't remember what their names are. Sorry, I was a lot going on, but they were very nice.
They were there right when we got there at the outside bar, and they left pretty soon.
And it was cold outside, so people weren't hanging out outside much. And so I talked to them for like 10 or 15 minutes, and that was a pleasant conversation.
So I see Josh over there. Shout out Josh, Lady Chris's son.
Yeah,
And
I didn't realize that was him for like to a point where it was like I was like, "Hey man, I didn't recognize you at first. Sorry." And he's like, "It's cool." I was like, I was like, "Do we hug now? What do we do here?"
He's the sweetest, most affable guy.
He's so
I mean,
nice.
the nicest guy. And I see him over there being cornered, and I was like, you can't tell if he's enjoying a conversation or not because he's got the same.
He's very monotone.
He's got the same sort of attitude about everything. Like he could hate you probably, and you would never ever know. He could love you, and you'd never ever know. So. I'm like, is he trapped? He's okay.
He's in the corner of the outside bar.
Yeah.
It's the
So then, everywhere any of us go, we have a couple of folks rubbing their.
There's one guy who was
There's two of them.
There's two of them.
But one was the roamer. One was the scout.
Yeah. And so they were from California. Kelly got more information than he wanted.
Canada.
They were Canadian
Oh, yeah,
guys.
because the first thing I heard him say was, yeah, we're going to go catch some trout.
Yeah, they were staying at the campground. It was a gay couple in their like mid-30s, and the roamer was wearing a shirt way too tight for his B-cup titties, and he had, full man-maries. Man-maries? Yeah. He had gynecomastia. He had man-tits. And erect nipple man-tits. So I sit down on the tidy side of the bar next to you, and he comes and sits down next to me, and he like rubs right titty on my shoulder. I'm like, oh, it must have been an accident. Sits kind of close to me. I immediately am like, oh, this dude, maybe he's drunk and is going to hit on me, whatever.
Yeah.
But he doesn't stay very long. He gets up and then left titty to the other part of the back. And I'm like, those were, and I didn't really look at it the first time, but I saw him walk away. I was like, those are boobs.
Yeah. So when I say scout,
and I don't mind boobs on my back, but this.
And I say scout just in terms of they were scouting for people to interact with. I don't think this guy was out hunting for straight.
I think the roamer was trying to find some trim. We'll get to that in a second. I've got more.
Okay, well, so all right, I didn't catch that vibe. I caught the vibe that the people that they had been hanging out with.
Kelly caught that vibe.
I didn't catch that vibe.
Y'all can't see how comfortable Kelly is right now.
The vibe could have been there, but I didn't catch it. And I don't just want to assume that every gay dude's out to find another dude. Whatever.
I didn't until the two titties and then sit on the couch. Kelly's on the couch. I go sit on the couch next to Kelly. Dude comes over and sits right. He's next to me, so I scoot closer to Kelly, and then he like man spreads onto me and is like kind of moving his thigh against my leg, and I was like, nope, not me. Got up and walked off.
Does he even have an intro song? Like, hey, how we doing?
He said something, and I was watching the game, so I was just like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
I just got up and went away, went outside, and then he gets closer to Kelly. He moved over.
Yeah.
The whole ass couch. This dude was like, maybe right next to you. Feel that body heat.
God bless him. Whatever puts a smile on your face, I'm fine. I don't care. But it's like hitting on a girl or having a girl hit on you, and you don't want any part of it.
Read the room.
And I couldn't move enough. Didn't you say I went to the bathroom?
So after I got up, he moved over to Kelly, and I'm watching him. I'm like, because he seemed harmless, but sometimes like when a guy's hitting on a girl. His behavior, if he had done this to a girl, we would probably have been like, hey, man, stop or leave. But
there are different standards.
Yeah. So Kelly gets up to go to the bathroom, and this dude gets up, and it's Kelly's closing the door. He is going to the door and tries to go. He watches Kelly close the door and lock it, and he tries to go into the bathroom behind Kelly.
I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I just
got to get away. And so I see his face, like, the look of disappointment on his face, and I'm like, this is weird. So I'm like, I'm going to stay here to make sure, because Kelly's a much nicer guy than I am, and I didn't want him to try to corner Kelly, and Kelly have to I was prepared to wrangle this gentleman in a way he did not want to be wrangled if he had to be. But I was, not violently, but like he needed to just stop. And so Josh is in the other bathroom, and Josh comes out, and he's like, ooh, new victim. So he goes over and gets in front of Josh. Josh is back in the corner seat, and he starts talking to Josh, and like he was nice, but he was just awkward. And
all right, so he's not unlike the dude I was talking about in the first segment, where it's like he's just going to try and find anyone to have anything in common with, to have an interaction with. But I'm noticing that the other guy is kind of staying put for the most part.
I didn't realize they were together until much later.
I knew that they were together in terms of they had come there together. I didn't know if they were a couple or not, though.
Because there was another guy, the guy that was on everything but roller skates last night, was also there. And Eric and I were outside talking about just how the podcast thing went, and the game, and he came up and he didn't have any identifying Eagles gear on, but he said something like just completely off and obnoxious about the Cowboys. Like, I hope I hope he gets his leg broken or something. And I was like, yo, man, like, and Eric, that was me, goes, yeah, Eagles fans are dicks. And the dude like put his head down and walked off, and I could tell he had been there enough to know that Eric was the owner. And he's not a big man, but he was kind of aggressive. Like I said, he makes the eagle call at the bar, and so he kind of was like, oh.
And who do you think you're going to gain favor with by walking up to someone and go, I hope that person gets maimed?
The person on your team you're cheering for in the playoffs.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
If
I don't want anyone on any team to get hurt.
I don't want anyone anywhere to
they're
break.
And Ndamukong can sue sometimes back in the day when he would step on people's faces. I was like, all right, look, he needs to go.
Someone needs to take his
There was the
knee
other
out.
guy for the Bengals. It was like Vontez Burfict. He like got fined like 7 times for egregious behavior and like kicked out of games because he would. I mean, someone that would be on the ground, the ball's down, they get up, they go to hike the ball. He's like, hey, and now you're getting hit.
Yeah.
Football.
You could call that a football.
Oh, shit. It's the Karen of the week.
I like it.
It's the Karen of the week.
Oh, shit.
Do you have a Karen?
I don't, so let's do our listener Karen.
We'll do our listener Karen. Shout out to Baby Mike for sending me a Karen. I know some of you send me Karen. Sometimes I can't make it into a good story. However, this one it's sad because it hurt somebody.
Oh.
So a Chicago bookstore owner says a customer returned $800 worth of books after using them to stage a home for the holidays. It was 1/3 of their rent. So this woman buys these books in December. She's got family coming in town, and so she stages her house to look like different with all these books. Well, these people, it's a mom and pop bookstore, and as everyone's probably aware, books aren't selling like they used to.
Yeah.
So they're like, hell yeah. They now are spending, it's the holidays. They're now spending money they weren't going to spend because they just got $800. But she brings it back to the store after Christmas to return them. Now, you're a small business, so reviews are very important in the beginning of a burgeoning small business, especially like a bookstore. So they don't want to piss off their customers. So they're like, I guess we take these books back. And it almost destroyed them. But the story went viral. And
I was about to say, did they get a Kickstarter going?
And as humanity does sometimes, they were flooded with online orders. Like they would recoup the money and more within 24 hours, and then since have like they're doing great now, and people are just
it's like you
patronizing.
got mail. With Tom Hanks.
I know people that'll order an item of clothing off of Amazon and wear it on New Year's or something like that, and then send it back. You're not hurting Jeff Bezos.
No. I mean, I used to go to Walmart when I would travel and needed an air mattress and get it. Now you can't return air mattresses to Walmart. There's certain things you can't return anymore. People have done that too many times.
Well,
but you get the right person to check on it, they don't give a
Bill Burr on his podcast, he does a sponsor. He's got a sponsorship from some mattress company, and he goes, and every time he reads the copy,
he goes, reads.
He goes, and you can return it after 90 days. Gross.
Well, so I did that with a purple mattress and a Sattva. I got one, and you got a year trial or 180 days. And I buy nice. You sleep a third of the day, or you should be. I buy nice mattresses. So I did the trial, and so for the first bed, and when the guy came here, I was like, "Where's this going?" Because it's a mattress
to the incinerator,
and so they donate it to like homeless shelters and stuff. So some homeless guy balling out sleeping on a $3,000 mattress.
Oh yeah.
But then I got a purple mattress. I liked it, but didn't love it, and then it ended up like my third choice was a Nectar, which was like the cheaper of the three, and that's the one that I'm about to buy another one. I think
I got the Zionist, which was like the
Amazon
in the
Nectar.
bottom third cheap. It wasn't cheap.
It's weird because it comes in a rectangular prism box, and then it just unfolds. You let it sit for 2 days, and
it took 48 hours. I bought my current mattress when I moved in here, and I came here 2 days
like
prior,
gas out or whatever.
And let it.
So when I got the first round of those beds, I had an old Tempur-Pedic mattress, or like it was like another version of Tempur-Pedic. It wasn't Tempur-Pedic brand, but it was a high-end one. It cost a lot of money, and it was like when I graduated from college, I think I bought it for myself. I was like, I need something nice to sleep on or whatever.
No more futons for me, baby.
So I put it on Craigslist just to see if somebody wanted it, and this Army guy was like, "Look, you seem like a nice guy. I might want it, but I need to like come meet you and talk to you." And I was like, "Smart." So he comes over. We talk for like 30 minutes. We don't even talk about the mattress. We're talking about like video games or something.
Yeah, football.
And just whatever. And like and I'm almost like, do I need to go get a beer? This guy's cool as hell. And he goes, man, he's like a pretty nice guy. This place is clean. You don't smell weird. I'll take it. And he bought it.
I think that's about the only way to buy a secondhand mattress.
Yeah.
I would think.
Well, like a friend will give you one.
Sure.
And you're like,
band name.
Yeah. Secondhand mattress.
Nickname in high school.
Or the name of this podcast episode. Secondhand mattress.
Secondhand mattress.
But like I've given one to other people before, but like, here.
Military guy, Craigslist?
Yeah.
What kind of car did
he had to get the mattress, he had a truck.
Damn.
It wasn't in his car.
It wasn't a Dodge Charger?
It wasn't a Dodge Charger. They don't make a truck. If they did, though, Dodge trucks are pretty popular. But
yeah. because it was just military and Dodge Chargers. I was watching YouTube the other day, and this guy was like, he's a military guy, and he goes, "Hey, if anyone knows where to get aftermarket parts," and before he said it, I was like, "For a Dodge Charger."
Dodge Charger?
That's exactly what it was.
So there's two military guys and Dodge Chargers, black guys and trike motorcycle things. The brothers owned like a substantially large percentage of those trike bikes.
Yeah.
What, the slingshot one?
Yeah, and I'm like, what is that?
Oh, the two up front and one in the back.
or whatever, vice versa. And so, it's because like you'll see like a bike gang of them, and it's a bunch of brothers listening. Like it's fun though because they'll like ride by the stereos, obviously hooked up, and they're playing like Marvin Gaye as they ride down the street, and I'm like,
All right, I see dudes down here. There's one particular guy, and I really like him now. I had a bad opinion of him before, but he handled some business one time up at Huckapoos. And he's got the big ape hangers, but it's a bicycle with the loud. I mean, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, he's got a speaker I use in my gym on the back of his bike.
Yes, exactly. And it's exactly. And it's always like Metallica or now I like Metallica, right?
But
yeah, come on. But it's mostly early 2000s butt rock. You know what butt rock is? Butt rock is anything that was on the radio in early 2000s, and the radio station would go, "Nothing but rock." So anything that was played.
So Limp Bizkit.
99.8, nothing but rock. Up next, we got Stained with.
So like, here's the thing. I have a convertible. It's got a loud stereo because it's a BMW. They have just great stereos. But when I'm like driving down the highway and at the top down on the way to Tabby, I'm jamming. But when I get on the island proper, I turn it down 9 out of 10 times. Like I think I rolled in here a couple weeks ago when I was having a great day. I was in a good mood, and I was jamming Steely Dan.
This is the first time I've ever heard it.
I always look when I pull into someone's neighborhood or their house. I turn down my stereo because I'm not a dick. I'm not that much of a dick. I'm a dick, not that much. I'm not that kind of dick. I'm not a bent dick. I'm a straight dick.
My rule is I don't want you to hear it.
I won't rub my titties on your back.
I don't want you to hear it if I'm in a neighborhood, and if I pull up to a store, my radio is off before I open the door.
Now, if I'm listening to talk radio, I don't care. I don't have it loud because you're not listening to talk radio loud, to sports radio or whatever. However, the guy that bought the ESPN station locally, his name is Captain Annoying. I can't remember his name right now. And I'm glad he bought it because they were having problems before and they didn't have someone to buy it. So he's like out of Macon, in that area. I think he's from like Watkinsville, which is outside of Athens. Either way, during the holidays, one of his listeners had called and played some song on a cornet, aka a trumpet.
Yeah.
And it was a Christmas song, and I don't know what it is because I only listened to about 3 seconds of it, and I turned it down. But he would play a minute of this on the radio, and it's not very well played. It'd be like if I practiced for a week and played it. It's terrible.
It's like a kid on a recorder doing the Titanic song.
And like 7 or 8 times through Christmas, I'm like, bro, this is turning me off.
Was it his cousin or something?
I mean, he's trying to placate his listeners, but this is making other ones go away.
Here's the thing. A trumpet is already kind of a invasive instrument. A cornet is more invasively.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a saxophone.
No.
And even then, like, stop.
You can kind of be bad at saxophone, and it'll still
as long as you play the Shaft from Africa theme, I'm in, dude. That's what I'm about. I wanted to play the saxophone when I went to band in the 5th grade. My dad was like, "I'm not buying you a saxophone. You get whatever your cousin doesn't use."
I rented one in 5th grade, and I stopped playing it. Number one, because all I could do was go, and my dad would be like, or my stepdad, he'd be like, "I hear the boats coming in." That's what he would tell the neighborhood.
My cousin Morris, shout out to Morris, he played the sousaphone.
Okay.
And you know what sousaphone is?
Like it looks like a French horn, sort of.
It's a tuba.
Okay,
like a tuba French. In the Redcoats marching band. He was he got a music scholarship to Georgia to play on the record board. He was very good, but he played a lot of instruments with that. So I got in the 5th grade his trumpet that he didn't want anymore, and so I played it for 2 months. And the day I was like, "Dad, I don't do this anymore." He's like, "Thank God," because nothing's better than someone learning how to play a trumpet.
Learning how to play almost anything, like at least the guitar's kind of quiet in the room or whatever. I stopped playing saxophone not only because I couldn't play it, I would just pretend to play at band, but the case was so big, and to get to the bus stop, I had to walk like about a mile from my house.
And you're like, ugh.
I was like,
imagine the sousaphone. Game days, you got to do the dog walk, do the game, and then after the game, I don't know if I've told the story about Tennessee. They went to Tennessee. Georgia was playing at Tennessee. It was like the Peyton Manning years, very competitive game. And the band director was like, "Look, at the end of the game, all the sousaphones surround the dance team and the cheerleaders because these fans are going to try to get them." And my cousin was like, "Huh?" He goes, "Use it as a weapon if you have to." So
create a perimeter with
create
instruments.
a perimeter around the dance girls. And he was like, 100% needed. These drunk Tennessee fans, it was like a night game too. We're like reaching in, just grabbing boobs and butt and whatever they could do to assault these girls. So they're just whacking people in the head with their sousaphone.
So I've probably been to 20 home games in Athens. The only time I ever had problems with other teams' fans, Tennessee Volunteers.
It's because they have the worst song of all time.
Oh, that is true.
That song is the worst song.
Written by a Karen, probably.
I mean,
We'll get back to
that song and Happy Birthday. I don't want to hear the one of ever.
We'll get back to instruments and football.
That's it last week. Happy Birthday. What are we doing? You don't want to hear it. You don't want to sing it. I don't want to hear it. Why are we doing this still?
Why are any of us doing
Why are we still doing it? So,
do you have a Karen?
Speaking of a real Karen, this is a local Karen. She's from Garden City.
Hell yeah, brother.
So I always ask my customers, we have like 95% tourists. Where are you visiting from? And she goes, Garden City. And I was like, oh, you're from here. Like, that's not visiting from down the street.
It's just over the viaduct.
Yeah. And so it's a 300-pound, 5'7" woman. It's kind of chilly out. It was last Friday night. She's got the obligatory tiny shivering chihuahua. Doesn't even have a coat on the damn. I mean, look, I don't mind putting clothes on my dog. He's a lab. But if you've got a tiny dog and it's cold, like, hey, man, hook that dog up with a sweater.
I thought they came with little sweaters. You know what I mean?
Like the puppies come out and the sweaters come out.
Yeah, exactly.
An umbilical cord.
The amniotic sac is a sweater.
And so it's her. I can tell that one of them is her daughter because she's unfortunately going to be built like that one day.
Sure.
And then the other, her best friend, who is a regular sized 10 to 12-year-old girl, maybe 14, I can't tell. So the kids, she goes, I'm just going to have a cocktail. She gets a Georgia Peach. I don't know if I want to give away too much here. The Georgia Peach margarita. It's a drink on our drink menu. It's not a strong drink. She gets about 3 sips in and is like red-faced and kind of, she's like, this thing's strong. I'm feeling it. And I was like, huh. Because she's like, I'm just going to drink. The kids are going to eat. They had a kid's chicken fingers and a kid's, and both kids were too old to use the kids menu. She's like, do you care if they get off the kids menu? I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm letting it slide. So she goes, I got to get something to eat. And I'm like, all right, well, we're going to get this. And then she goes, God, I'll just get one of those kids shrimp. And I was like, I can't. You're an adult. She's like, nobody's going to know. I'm like, they're outside. The host stand's right there where the manager hangs out. And I was like, my manager is going to be right there. I can't.
And I'll let you slide on
I'll already let you slide on these two. Like, I'm not getting another one. So I'm like, how about a Caesar salad with some grilled chicken? I'm in. Done. I bring it out. At this time, I'm cut. The only people left are Randy and Michelle inside. And so I'm talking to them some, coming back outside, checking on her. I keep forgetting about her because it's a $42 table. So I'm like, hey, let me go close them out, y'all, and I'll come back inside and talk to you guys while y'all finish up. I'll walk out with you guys. I was on a double. I was leaving. So I go out there and shivering ass Karen, all right, God, Jesus Christ, what I forgot to do.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Lord, I'm sorry. You should have said something. What the hell? All right, there it is. All right, I'm back. Well, he'll get to the crux of the Karen with the wig on now.
It's a new year. I'm not trying to interrupt you, you know?
So I go out there. Hey, here's your check. She's like, all right, yeah. I was like, I'll be right back. So I go inside, do some stuff. I come out with a little handheld. And I'm like, she's frantically searching. She can't find her wallet or her phone. The kid is not her daughter, does not understand this scam she's trying to pull. So she takes her wallet and starts, and then there's I can see multiple credit cards, probably maxed out, probably gift Visa cards. I don't know, but I see them in the wallet. But she's pretending she can't find anything. And she's like, I was like, y'all take a few minutes. It's fine. Take your time. Figure this out. I'm like, I don't want to pressure her. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable, even though she's already been almost a Karen.
Yeah.
Here's where she puts the capital K in Karen. Girl, not her daughter. He goes, I've got Cash App on my phone. You can pay with Cash App on the little thing. So this girl pulls up. I'm standing there now because I'm like, are they going to run? I mean, she can't run. They're going to waddle off. And so I'm watching the girl pull up her phone on Cash App. I'm kind of guide her through it. She does not do it, but she does. It's got $190 on her balance. And I'm sure parents just give kids money on Cash App to spend.
Sure.
I get it. So she's like, well, she'll pay $16 and I'll pay the rest in cash. And I'm like, all right. So when she scans it, I'm like, if you want to tip 20%, just sign here and hit this. And she goes, oh, no, I'm going to tip you. I've got cash. And I'm like, okay. So she does this thing. This is now over. I can't bring this transaction back to life. And I'm like, here you go. And she goes, here's the cash for the rest of the bill, a nickel and 3 pennies. Also, never, if you're getting pennies, it's never a good sign.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, all right. I was like, I'll be right back. And she's like, oh, I got your tips. Give me a second. I come back. She goes, sorry, all I have is $2. You could have let the kid tip me.
Oh, yeah, right.
The kid, I mean, not that I need the kid's money. And
No.
the money is not the issue. It's the principle of the matter. And that kid's parents obviously have the wherewithal to know that their daughter's unfortunately hanging out with a garbage mom. The other girl was very nice. Her daughter was nice, but the mom was trash. And
unwittingly almost being a part of a scam that this lady's trying to pull.
I think she was frazzled by the drink because she had had a couple of
Yeah.
them Xanaxes. You know what I mean?
A stay-at-home mom. I
Yeah,
like it,
yeah. She's definitely a single mom. But I'm like, why? Like, she could have paid $20 and you could
Right,
give me
yeah.
$6, which is not, the great tip. But like,
See, what I'm reading from this is she was aware of this the entire time, or something close.
the thing is, she was aware this was going to happen, and she still wasn't good at this scam. And her whole
if
but
you're
she
gonna
was taking-
hustle me, at least be a
but
good hustler.
as I think back on it at the time, I'm thinking back, I was like, oh, she was setting me up with, you've been so great. Thanks for being so patient. Because I was patient with them, so she's buttering me up early on.
It's like the end of Usual Suspects. You look at the whiteboard and you're like, oh, everything starts coming together. She said I was really great. She said the food was delicious. Every bad sign.
Yes. And the chicken chihuahua didn't help. So she's trying to like go through her purse. She's like heading the kid, the dog, and I'm like, I'll hold the goddamn dog. I just want this over so I can go inside to my friend.
Yeah, I'm done with you guys.
It gets done. I'm like, and she goes, thank you so much. You're amazing. And I went, cool. That's about the most I can do with this restaurant. I can't. I haven't been there long enough to be like, you know what? Eat a dick, Grandma. I wouldn't say that to anybody.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But I'm like, cool. And let's go back inside. And so I walk in, and Randy starts talking. I go, hold on. I got to write this down. A little inside baseball for you two.
Yeah,
as
you
I
get
make
to see it
so,
live as
so
it
if you
happens.
read my notes, a lot of them they're like a long form Karen segment. I have to just talk to text it, and no one has probably noticed, but Clint talks a little fast. So when you watch me do this, it's great. I go from hold on a minute. Karen said she was drunk off one Georgia peach margarita, comma, those things are weak as shit. It says S star star star. She had 2 kids with her and a small dog, comma. The dog was shivering and shaking because it was cold outside. It's funny, though, because the way it does cuz, C-U-Z.
It does CUZ for you?
Yeah. I
It must know that
I
you-
don't type that
Do you
word.
type it like that?
No, I type because.
Well, I heard you text to speech or speech to text. You were like, "Am doing podcast right." I was like, "This is a whole new Clint that I've never heard."
Well, because if I talk like I normally do, it actually writes in calligraphy. It's written in Chinese.
It writes in Scientology. So
It was late winter. It was young.
So it's like the opposite of
The
that.
whale stared me in the eyes.
The same
great beast.
The same day of the 18 rib breaker. So daytime we get a lot of like 2 and 3 guys that are all on the same job, like like cable workers or plumbers or whatever. These 2 dudes were, I don't know, I think they work for Comcast or something like that. And right when the guy walked in, he goes, "Listen, I'm paying for lunch today. My wallet is outside. I just want to make sure my phone works to do the touch to pay on your thing before I order anything." I was like, "It's fine." He goes, "No, we have to do this."
That's very noble of him.
It's so simple, and I felt bad. I was like, "You don't have to, man. Even if what you're gonna get 2 slices and 2 Cokes, I'll buy the shit." You know what I mean?
Venmo me.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, that's obviously the way to.
Yeah, and look, every time a table goes, you guys want one check? There's 8 people. You want one check or separate? And they're like, we can just do separate, or we can all. We got plenty of time. Things have just changed. I know. You didn't see?
Yeah, I saw
You didn't
it.
see? We
can't talk about it, but I saw
it's still a thing.
Okay.
That got me too frazzled. But they're like, we can do 2, 2, and 2, or we can just Venmo each other. I'm like, I love you and Venmo. Tell your grandparents, please.
I had a table the other day. I was like, so this is how I sometimes ask. I go, "Do you guys want it all together or separate?" And if they go all together, I'm like, "That's right. I fucking love you." I'm gonna write this
Write
down.
it down. What do you even have going on over there?
It's 1 and 1. I mean 2 and 2. I'm sorry.
It's 3 and 2. I'm up. I got
But
3.
you're up.
I have 3. Because we're gonna try to get the F count in this week because we keep having a problem with the F count.
Hey, you know what, man? We got a lot of stuff to deal with up here.
Yeah, we got a lot of
man.
F
Yeah.
stuff.
All right, so shout out to one of our first and greatest supporters and one of our best guests, Travis Jadon.
Yes. So
Hot Grits Podcast.
Hot Grits Podcast.
If you want sports every week, the dude's real good.
he's very good. He's very good. And if you're not going to vote for us in Best of Savannah for Best Podcast, vote for us. But if not, vote for him.
Vote
You
for
hate us,
him.
Vote for him. This guy doesn't want anything. You know what? If we win, I'll take him.
Yeah.
I think because they do a 1, 2, 3, he'll probably be 2 or 3.
Yeah, hopefully.
or us 2 or 3.
Yeah, hopefully.
If we're third, I'm not going. It's the deuce or nothing. So he had an episode this week. You should go check it out, guys, if you know about local Savannah stuff. It's not called Hot Grits versus BC. We're going to work on that with him. He'll name it some episodes better. But Jesus Spicy Christ. So there was a basketball game a couple weeks ago between Savannah Christian, which is a local private school, and Savannah Country High School, which is like the most prestigious private school in Savannah. Which I think that's where Travis went to school. Was one of those two.
Okay.
And it's a basketball game involving those two schools. One of their other local rivals is BC. BC is better against an all-boys school, the 400.
And these are kind of like cupcake schools, right?
Yeah, comparatively to BC, because the thing is, BC's got 400 dudes, and you go there sometimes to play sports.
And BC's been really good at football
for
a while.
Yeah, for a while. They're back-to-back state champs right now.
Yeah, they're always okay. I don't know about basketball.
I went to BC for a little bit of time. You went to BC. Vinny went to BC.
4 whole months here, brother.
Yeah, I did a little more time than that in there. But
one of the 4 monthers.
Yeah,
4 month 400.
4 month 400. Same thing. So, but there a lot of people that will go to BC and graduate cohabitate here. They stay here. They live here. They've got it's a Catholic school, so they got a lot of little kids. A lot of kids.
And
so
they treat BC like it's the Georgia Bulldogs.
It is probably the most prominent school with influence in the county. Savannah Country Day's got like that backdoor influence.
But when it comes
BC's in your face, fist on the desk.
When it comes to holding sports fans long after high school.
Oh, there is
60-year-old
men wearing their letter jacket from high school at games.
I'm telling you, man, it is a long-term.
I saw Wong in a game wearing his letter jacket. He's like, "What?" I was like, "He's like, you don't wear yours?" I'm like, "No, it's weird. I'm 40, and I don't know where it was. All I had was wrestling and cross country, but like I'm not wearing that.
I had a jacket from when I went to school with I
wore a BC shirt. You know, I had this. So I was on the wrestling team for 2 years. And it was called the 6-minute monster because the wrestling match is 3 2-minute segments, rounds. So rounds. Sorry, there's that.
How many ribs you got?
Not enough. I'm not Marilyn Manson. Anyway, so we call it the 6-minute monster. So I had this sweet shirt that said 6-minute monster, and it had like a wrestler holding another guy's spine up like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah, Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat.
Wow.
Sorry, I didn't mean to insult the only one video game you know about, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And so it was this sweet ass shirt. I loved this shirt. And when I would go to BC games when I was an adult, I would wear this shirt because it was a dope shirt.
It's a unique and dope shirt.
It's a unique and dope shirt. But spoiler alert: when Clint was in the 10th and 11th grade, 9th and 11th grade, he was 160 pounds. I wrestled 160. So I was not wearing an extra large shirt then. It was a large. As I got older, I put on a couple of pounds.
Okay,
I'm down back now to where I should be.
A few nipples
but
poking out.
There was a 220 point in my life where I was like taking creatine and like I was too big. So I'd put it on sometimes and was like,
green tea. That's what the Liver King took.
So one night, when I was at Garibaldi's, I was in my late 20s. I had my wine collection was thriving then because we would get tons of wine through nefarious reasons. Look, what year is it? Yeah. We're gonna
Wrestling to wine. I mean, what is this?
So
if I know something about wrestlers,
they like wine?
They got a wine collection.
Well,
to hell and back.
I would get away with, on the Patreon, I'll tell you why I had so much freaking wine. But this girl who worked with us with hostess, her name was Megan. Hey, Megan. She was a smoke show. She hated me. She was always mean to me. So I was like, mission to hook up with her. And so one night, we're out at Molly McPherson's drinking, and she gets drunk to the point where she's like, I want to hate fuck this dude. And I'm like,
I want him to be the mistake.
Yeah. So we go home and have quite the event. We pop some wine.
Did you have
I popped like a $9 bottle of wine.
6-minute monster? Were you the 6-minute monster?
It was an 8-inch monster. Anyway, so
Patreon.
So yeah. So I opened like a $9 bottle of wine with her. I'm like, I got her in the house. This is gonna go down.
Step 1.
Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. So my roommate, I'm like, go away.
Cowboy hat on the door. You got it?
Yeah, go to your room. I need the living room and my room. So we're in the living room, and she's like, I don't want to go to your room. So then eventually things happen, and we have we wrestled for quite some time.
Nice session.
Longer than 6 minutes.
Nice
I pegged her a lot.
Nice segment, as they call it in wrestling.
I didn't pull her spine out of her body, but it was just about. So we get done, and she's like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, put this shirt on. Grab a shirt out of the bottom drawer. That's the shirt she grabs. And I'm like, I don't care. I like you, Megan.
Never saw it again?
So she leaves the next morning, and we leave. We wrestled again before she left.
I wrestled that shirt off of her. I'll tell you that.
She puts it back on, and she's like, 'cause she had on like going out clothes. So,
sure.
And I was like, yeah, you can just get it back to me. Well, I guess when the alcohol wore off, she was like, I forgot I hate this guy. And I was like, she wouldn't give it back to me.
Oh, purposely.
And she graduated. And I was like, because my dumbass at 28, whatever I was then, 26, was like, that shirt means a lot to me. And she was like, I forgot I hate you. Even though it made me.
That's where you effed up. You said you let her know
I
what
thought
she
because
cared
I had
about.
given her lots
reason
of
not
pleasure
to
and
hate
fun,
me.
not to hate me. But she was like, screw this guy who screwed the hell out of me. Like, I'm like, damn it, Megan. And then she graduated from SCAD like 6 months later. Like, she would be like, oh, I'll get it. I'll bring it next time. But she didn't want like people at work to know.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anybody because I thought.
Well,
maybe it'd
did you
happen
really
again.
like her?
No, she was real hot though.
But you didn't like her personally, right?
No, she was a bitch.
Okay, so that's a Bronx Tale situation. One shirt
want
you
the
got off
goddamn-
easy.
I want that shirt back. I have plenty of
you
other
got
shirts.
off easy. Bronx Tale. I want to use that anytime I can.
She got off easy. Hey,
We'll save that for the Patreon though. So if
So
you
anyway,
haven't-
we didn't even get to the BC thing.
I was going to say
Totally.
just go listen to it at this point. We're running.
Do you want to do that on the Patreon?
Yeah, we'll do that on the Patreon.
All right. If you want to hear this amazing, basically with this story, there was a basketball game, Country Day, it's Savannah Christian, and 40 BC students showed up to the game, not involving their team, chanting "back to back," and they're marching because there's a military school into the basketball arena at Country Day where they don't belong, and they spend the whole game heckling, and it gets spicy after
Spicy,
that.
baby. All right. Well, so so that we don't forget the F count.
I wonder if it's because Paxton's not winning.
Yeah, Clint is at 4. Paxton is at 2. Kelly's at 0.
Fuck.
And we got a winner and a loser. All right, guys. We will see some of you guys in the Patreon. Again,
Patreon.com/from behind the barcast.
Behind
There's
the
links
Barcast.
on Facebook to it. Instagram was only do links.
anytime we post anywhere, we always put a link tree on there, and
the
that'll
link
take
tree's
you.
on our Instagram. Hit the link tree. It gives you access to everything.
If
Tell
you
your friends.
would, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel so you can watch full videos.
Leave
You can
comments.
Leave comments. You can also watch the full videos if you listen on Spotify. And if you would, let us know where you listen. We're trying to get an idea of.
Yes, please do. Well, where we're hitting, if we need to go, if we need to go to Maine and try to branch out.
Right.
We're gonna,
Where you're listening from, and do you listen from Google, Spotify, Apple,
Yes.
YouTube? Let us know. We need to know these metrics because they don't tell us these metrics, and we would like
not for
to know.
free, they don't. And we don't.
We ain't paying for that, man. All right, guys, we love you. We'll see some of you in the Patreon.